Are you totally frustrated because it seems like nobody wants to help you do anything in PTO land? Like, well, people come to meetings and they have ideas, lots of them maybe, but then when it comes to putting those ideas into action and planning out steps to make them happen, people are ghosting. Like, that is just the situation that one of my viewers wrote into me about. And so I think a lot of you guys actually might be dealing with this. So I just want to give you some suggestions on how to handle this. And basically it starts with like a big old gut check. Like, is your group healthy? And by this, like, I think if no one wants to come and help, then there's either a disconnect. Like, either people don't understand that they actually have to do the work to make things happen. Like, I was having a conversation with our district council president recently, and we were talking about a new volunteer who she thought she was family events chair at an elementary school, and she thought she just had to pick the dates for the events. And presumably, like, the magic fairies would make them happen. And we were like, no, hon, you gotta plan those things. If you're the family events chair, then you have to pick the date, pick the events, pick the dates, make the plans to make it happen, and get the volunteers and all that jazz. So kind of funny, everybody comes in with a different expectation, different knowledge about what they need to be doing in their role. I'm just chuckling because that one is just, oh boy, where has she been? She's not been following along with anything. I wish there were magic fairies. Wouldn't that be awesome? If we could just pick the dates and things would just happen. But I think that goes to show you like just how good some PTO volunteers are, that we can make it seem like there are stinking magic fairies to make all this happen. But I digress. Okay, if nobody's showing up, then there's a problem somewhere in the group. Like, if nobody wants to help, either they've been burned by past trauma, and they don't want to get involved, or they don't know what's involved. So like some training is necessary, because maybe they do think like that one person, like, oh, this is great. Gonna go to the meeting. I'm just going to expound on all of these wonderful ideas to make our school really awesome. And they go home feeling fantastic about themselves. And the president is like, we got nothing done. And now I have all this stuff on my plate. Like, that's another aside. Like, you as president aren't in charge of making sure everything happens. Well, you're not in charge of making it happen. I guess you're in charge of making sure it happens, if that is your group's goal and your intent for the year. But you yourself don't have to do all the work. So that's a point. And I think I've covered this in other videos. So go back and look at like what presidents should expect and all that kind of jazz. The other thing is if nobody wants to help, like check about like what you're planning. Like, is it that they don't have enough information to know whether they can help? Like, all too often I see sign up sheets that just say, volunteer. It's like ripped out of somebody's notebook, and it says fall leaf raking. Sign up here and put your phone number. Well, that's great, but like, where are you going to be raking? Who's going to be going? Can you bring little kids? When are you going to be doing it? Like, what time? So all of those details need to be clearly communicated more than once, like more often than you think you need to, because there's so much going on for people, and that they just don't have the capacity to like listen to everything and retain it. Anytime you are asking for volunteers, you need to be very clear on who, what, when, where, and sometimes even the why, just to kind of remind people what is the dealio with that kind of stuff. The next thing you need to ask yourself is, if no one wants to help with the event, is this the sort of event that people actually want? Like, if no one wants to make it happen, then maybe the event is old, like tired. Not old, but like tired and like worn out, and that people are ready for something fresh and new. Kind of ask yourself that question. The next consideration to make is whether it's planned for a time that people can come. Like, is it in conflict with something else going on at the school? If you're in elementary school, have you inadvertently planned something for like a senior awards night and parents can't come, or a band or orchestra concert or something like that? So really, I've talked about this a ton, about the importance of planning events and what that entails, to make sure that you're not in conflict with things that are happening within your own school, your own school district, and then your local community. And then if you're like in the suburbs of like a major community or major city, like I live in the suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio. Woohoo! Love Cleveland. There are like national sports teams. National sports teams, you know what I mean? There are like big time sports teams here. And so if your team is playing, if the basketball team is playing in the playoffs, then that is a bad time to plan something, because people either want to go to the game or want to be watching the game. They don't want to come to a magic show for their kids, because even the kids probably want to be watching the playoff game too. So be aware of that as a possible issue too. The last consideration to make, and this is really tied into that kind of first point that I made about whether your group is kind of dysfunctional or not. And that is a kind of hard thing to deal with, because nobody wants to think, or nobody wants to realize that their group is dysfunctional, but the dysfunction can really trickle down. So if you had an event at the past where the volunteers were poorly treated, in that they weren't given the tools to succeed, they weren't given the information to succeed, or they were tasked with kind of going beyond what they said they would do, then that might have burned them like solidly to where they're like, forget them. Like, they totally hosed me this last time. I said I would work at the carnival booth from 2 to 1, and I was stuck there until 3, and I didn't even get to go to carnival with my kids. And of course, they were stuck there because there were no other volunteers. So the choice for that PTO could have been to close down that booth because you didn't have a volunteer. That is the natural consequence of not having enough volunteers. Instead of asking the volunteer in the moment, oh, can you just stay on? Or the volunteer coordinator ghosts them and they are stuck there because they don't have information they don't know what to do. Like, super crappy. So don't be doing that to your volunteers, but that may have happened. And that may have happened before you as the leader got to the PTO or got into a position where you had the ability to be coordinating the volunteers or asking volunteers for events, but just be wary, or be mindful of that. That may have occurred. So a whole lot of information. There could also be some other reasons why people are not showing up, but I really think those are kind of the main reasons to kind of consider and to talk through, think through, anticipate, and plan for, and to avoid really going forward. So I really hope that this has been a thought-provoking video and that it's helpful for you and motivating for you, because you can get people to show up to meetings or events, meetings and events and everything, and have helpers, but you just have to do it in the right way. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Want even more guidance on how to be a stronger leader so you can run a better PTO or PTA? All these resources and more are waiting for you at ptoanswers.com.